At Community First Credit Union, there's a lot to see. We build customized financial solutions so you can enjoy the life you want. We make it comfortable to have a conversation about what's important to you, like helping you stay on course to reach your savings goal. And what's important to us all, like helping to support causes that count. See for yourself what See First can do for you.
You're watching the Spirit Realm Network.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Answers from Beyond with Rachel. And I'm Rachel. And tonight we have one of my good friends, Jennifer Outwater. Say hey, Jennifer.
Hey!
So, usually everybody, I do tarot readings on Answer from Beyond, but tonight we are going to do an interview. And we're going to talk about Ascension. And I'm so excited because this is such a buzzword. I see it everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. So right. I'm so excited that you're going to do these classes, and I'm just excited to talk to you about it. I'm just excited, period, right?
I'm always excited just to talk to you, period, because you're my baby girl.
I know, right? And it has been such a crazy day. Has it been crazy for you?
Yeah, because the energy right now, like I've been posting about it, but it hit me 2 days ago. And it's this thing that's like what you see in the ocean before a tidal wave comes, when it pulls all the water back and it's getting ready to burst it out. And so it's pulling everybody's energy right now, like everything they have in them. Mm-hmm. And then this thing gets released when we have this massive conjunction next month. So it's going to be like that for the next month, which means people have to find their 0 point, right? Like they got to find their point where they can balance. Mm-hmm. Because there's no other way to move through it sanely. I mean, it's just crazy energy. So the long answer is yes. Been a crazy ass day.
Right. So is this have to do with the conjunction of Neptune and Pluto and I think Capricorn?
It's Saturn and Jupiter.
Saturn and Jupiter.
Yeah. And Mars and Venus right now are on top of us. All four of them are in a perfect line coming in on the 29th. So that's that vacuum pull that we move, that's moving us towards that point. And it's kind of pulling the energy. But the big one that you're talking about doesn't happen until June.
Oh, no. Oh, awesome. Oh, great. So, Okay. So you're explaining a little bit about astrology. So what all do you do? Tell us what you do.
I don't do a lot of astrology, if we're being honest. And I don't do tarot. There's a whole lot more that I don't do than that I do. Mainly my work, Rach, has always been in mediumship and crossing over and like missing persons cases and working around the world with it. But the one thing that really started hitting me just before the pandemic was the merge that we're in right now, where the fifth dimension is kind of laying on top of the third where we live. It's kind of like layers in a cake, right? And we're sponged in between. So the energetic is just so crazy. And for whatever reason, the influences or powers that be, or the oppositional energy, whatever you want to call it, is kind of broadcasting an energy into the universe to keep us on a fear level, to keep us sad, instead of ascending.
Okay.
And so
you just mentioned two things. So will you explain your idea of what Ascension is? And then can we talk about what this 3D and 5D is?
Sure.
Okay.
So Ascension is basically just, by definition, moving upward from the space that you're in now. And I mean, we all knew this has been coming for a long time ago. Our parents knew, right? Like the flower children knew. We were coming into the age of Aquarius, right? It was time to move up. to ascend. And so we're there. And we've had these major catalysts in the last 2 years that came in looking super negative with the viruses and the lockdowns and now the war in the Ukraine. And they are negative things if you adopt them in that way. Or you can look at them in a spiritual mode of neutrality and see it as part of the ascension. It's something we all had to go through. We had to be shut down, locked down, faced with our greatest fear, right? Mortality.
Mm-hmm.
Not only for ourselves, but also for the people that we love, to push us to ascend. I've got chills up and down my spine right now, but it's true. I mean, that's where we are. And so now we are in this process of being forced to ascend. And I think people feel it more than ever in the sense of that they feel uncomfortable in this world and more uncomfortable in their own skin than they ever have.
That is great that you just use that term, because I have another good friend, Samantha Hall. She had messaged me yesterday and she goes, I won't tell you what she really said, but basically it was everything is crazy. And I was like, yeah, it just feels like everybody is so uncomfortable.
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize what's going on. So this uncomfortableness, they don't have words for it. All they know is it's just like, and they just don't know.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, most of us don't have words for it. It's just been this sense of being unsettled and afraid to make plans and scared to look at the future, feeling like we didn't have one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a manipulation, but when you make the decision to be accountable and responsible and ascend instead of staying, it lightens up tremendously, which is why I'm doing the workshop.
Oh, wow.
It's just time.
Mm-hmm.
So
now, see, I got chills now.
It's true, though. Listen, I've backed off on readings over the years, and you know that.
Mm-hmm.
I said years ago, not that they were redundant for everybody, but for me personally, they were redundant. I should have started teaching a long time ago so that people knew they didn't need to call anybody else unless they just wanted somebody to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody has this in them, and now's the time to awaken it. So that's kind of where we are.
Yeah. Okay. So I got a quick question.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I see this ascension as the vibration and, you know, the light body and all these, you know, buzzwords. And I love words and I love labels. But, you know, I have noticed shifts in my energy, and I will notice, you know, like downloads, and I even channel and all these different things. And then it really made me think, because, you know, it goes back to my childhood with religion. And then I start thinking, well, because there was an ascension, or there was, you know, something being that was risen, and we will all rise one day.
Exactly.
And then I was like, wow, this ascension, or this, you know, rising up appears in a lot of cultures, and it appears in a lot of religions.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, wow, that's really cool, because it's the same thing, but different. You know?
It is exactly the same thing. Listen, I think what's happened throughout our experience that's documented on this planet that we have evidence of, which is, I think we can all agree, limited and tainted. Mm-hmm. We've ascended many times, but this ascension is a bit different. This one is about who's choosing to move toward the light and who decides to stay in the third dimension where we are right now.
Okay.
The 3D reality is incredibly heavy and weighted, as we know, because we've been living in this experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't make sense. The rules don't make sense. We follow them. We still don't do well. We get sick really easy. Our relationships break apart because we're in a almost diseased energetic, right? Where we just can't move past it. When this thing came into play, the fourth dimension shift happened at the very beginning of the epidemic. But everybody was so stuck on the television and on Facebook and
the fear.
Out. in fear that they missed it. So we just already jumped now to the fifth. The fifth's laying on top of us. And it's begging people to come to the light, to come to the truth, that they have the power and the authority to choose a different way.
Oh, I like that, the power and the authority.
Authority is
So
a big word.
it is a big word. So do we have the capabilities to be in 3D and 5D at the same time? And I'm not saying like that's something that we choose to do, but
Right.
like in order to survive, that like sometimes we have to go to 3D.
Sure.
Or
I
go
love
back.
it that you just said this, because I was just having this conversation. One of the things in the workshop, I've been working on this diagram to try to explain to people what we are and how we live spherically. So the answer is yes, you can reside in both. One is heavier, obviously, and you have to know how to deal with that and how to manage the tools to survive it without letting it drag you down. The other one is lighter, but still not perfect. We're not at that point of evolution yet, but it's better than where we are now, right? It's a jumping off point where we become more telepathic when we connect more to higher dimension. But you do have to live between both. And believe it or not, you already have been since it's
I believe
just
that.
calibrating your frequency to recognize that vibration and know which one you're in.
I know I often wonder when people talk about timelines and timeline shifts, and I wonder if maybe their timeline shift could be interchangeable with this going between 3D and 5D, because
It can be.
I could feel the difference. I could feel the difference, and you can't live all up here, not yet. I
It's
don't
true.
believe so, and I'm not even saying I'm up there yet. But it's just you can't live up there just yet, because I think everybody else is down here, and I can feel it. I feel the heaviness in my body. I'll know it with weight gain,
Right.
with the foods I like, my attitude, all different type things. And I'm really excited. The
Me too.
only really information that I know about the different dimensions is from reading the raw material. That's really the only point of reference, because I really didn't know anything about it, and I read the Law of One, and then I was like, okay, this is all I need to know, because
Incredible
they're just all
material.
versions of versions of versions.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's the correct one, but that's the one I identify with, and I'm like, okay, I can understand this.
I think most people do. I mean, if you take the dogma of belief systems out of it, and you just sit down with a person and have conversations with them, the truth is we all know that we have lived spherically for a very long time. We run into people and we have the old mindset of, and I hope no one's offended by this, but past lives, which are concurrent lives, right? They're just in the lower realms. Because the way we live, if you take the 0 point, which is where our soul resides, and you go up into the dimensions, you cross through third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on, and down below as well. We think in linear time, right? But spirit doesn't. It just exists on all planes. So we already know how to jump back and forth, like between these dimensions, but because we're in this god-awful sandbag suit of humanity, we lose our ability to claim that power to move through those things gracefully without causing trauma or being traumatized.
Ooh, I like the word trauma. Trauma and chaos. Those are my two favorite words here in the past.
They are. And let
Yeah.
me tell you on the weight gain thing before we move on to something else. This was also a conversation I had with a client yesterday. When we're holding weight, we're holding salt and water in our body because salt water is a conduit. We're craving connection to source. So we hold it We hold
So,
out water.
Jennifer, you just gonna call me out like that?
I'm going to call you out like that, girl. You know how I shoot.
I know. That is one thing that I love about you, because you do. You'll call, if you ever, I'm not saying that people have to have a thick skin if they come to you, but you tell it like it is. It's kind of like the Queen of Swords in the tarot.
Yep.
But you do it in a loving way. But
Thanks.
but there's a lot of people who would just kind of say what they want to, kind of what you want to hear, and just like sugarcoat it. I mean, you don't like, kill somebody with it, but it's like, hey, come on, people, get real. You really know what you're doing.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, this is between spirituality and therapy, which is my job. It's one and the same, right? Mm-hmm. You owe it to your people to be honest, because it's an honor that they choose you out of the millions of people they could. Mm-hmm. Why lie? Shoot it straight, because the truth is they probably had enough people blowing smoke up their ass for most of their life, which is why they are where they are. Mm-hmm. Right? You can do it kindly and with love, but just don't lie.
I totally agree. I feel like we have this, this source that we can tap into and get this information, and we should be tapping into it and getting
all of it.
All of it. Who knows? Who even knows? I was talking to somebody and they're like, oh my gosh. Well, it was actually a reading that I did. And he was just like, the potential there is unbelievable. And I'm like, yes, because I agreed to say yes to everything, unless it's something silly, Right. But I'm like, yeah, I want to say yes. And I don't put limits or expectations on, I try not to, but and I'm like, no, I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's to be human. Yeah. I mean, I do it too. Everybody does it. Mm-hmm. We're all going to do that. But I know I've said it to you many times over the years. And if any of my other clients and friends are listening, they can confirm this for sure. I've always said to everybody, I can't wait for the day when you don't need me anymore. Mm-hmm. When you get it on a big enough level that I never have to hear from you again, except for you to say, hey, what's up? Mm-hmm. Not I need a reading. And that should be the goal. Because if you're moving in fifth dimensional energy, which is far more loving than what we're in right now, the ego is minimal there. Okay. You have to be able to lift people up, to be honest. That's where things are. That's what we're all craving, right? We just want people to love us and to be honest. We want to know the truth about everything that we hear all day, every day. And so now it's for us to go pull that information. We can't rely in the third dimensional level to get that here, because what rotates here is a lie.
So somebody has a question in the chat. And it says, as they're both light and dark in 5D, yet at times detail on faces and such as darkness, but yet light is all around you?
Is light all around you? There's not darkness in 5D in the way that we would describe it here. But you have to remember that the way that we see things here is on a three-dimensional level, because this is where we reside. Mm-hmm. Is there negative and positive? Sure. Darkness is a different thing. Darkness has evil intent, right? Bad intent. Right. Energy itself is both negative and positive, and neutral at the same time. So those things exist in the 5 dimension, but they're not passed on to people in a way that harms them. What you attract to in 5 dimension is where you are. So let's say you're negative, you will experience negativity in 5D. If you're positive, you will pull positivity in 5D. But 5D is very mirror-esque of who we are, because it's supposed to teach us how to come back to 0 point and how to see what we're putting out and how that's attracting back. It's basic science, right? Mm-hmm. An atom will find another atom that's equally charged. We do the same thing no matter what dimension we're in. But I don't say to people, oh, it's all love and light, it's heaven. It's not. I mean, that's in your mind. That's what you make of it. That's a personal thing. Even in 5D, the difference is in 5D, they're not as easygoing about it. The downloads come harder. The work comes more frequently. You start feeling visited by entities. So you will hear a lot about people thinking that they're having alien visitation, but it's not. It's 5D. So you see these things, people will process it as a trauma or as an upgrade in the system, right? Since we're kind of like a computer.
Okay, so I got another question.
Sure.
Just like what you said, energy cannot be created, it just changes. So last Saturday, I did some mediumship, and the being that I was talking to had passed away early in their life, and they was really, really sad. It was really, really heavy. So what about beings that have passed over? Are they working on the other side, going through this ascension also?
That I'm glad you asked that, because this has been a major topic of conversation between me and some other mediums lately. I will be honest, because I can only speak for myself, and tell you that I haven't been able to tap into what we call the other side in several years. What I've been able to do is get residual information, like a fingerprint on glass, right? A smudge, to get information, but not direct contact. The only reason that I know of from my guides for this is because that group of people who've crossed have already moved through that. They don't need to be with us through it. It would bring them back down. So we're not as much in contact with them for their safety and also for ours. We're supposed to get past this point where we need to communicate with what we call the dead.
Right. Well, and so whenever I was doing this reading, I was wondering how much, because this is between a husband and a wife, how much they were actually mirroring. Was he showing her sadness, or was he just so, because with me being an empath, it seems like my readings are very emotional. So I was trying to figure, because that's still something I'm learning, what emotion that I'm feeling is he just sad because she's sad? How are they playing off one another? Yeah. How is that working? So yeah.
This is really easy. I'm going to say this because I think it's the easiest way to explain a lot of the things that we find mysterious. That science, as we know it, and spirituality as we know it, are the same thing. What we see on Earth here in the birth, life, and death process are the same throughout dimensions. So when one soul is connected to another one and they lose their partner, or they lose a child or someone they're very close with, there's an umbilical cord of connection that's emotional. You will pick up on that. The person that is passed will pick up on the sorrow and misery of the person left behind. And I've always said to people, please try to break that, because it's selfish without wanting to be selfish, to hold another energy in that space. But because we tie emotionally with a genetic cellular DNA memory that way, that umbilical cord just funnels it like an elevator, right? All that emotion. And you have to kind of encourage people to love the other person enough to cut that, to let them move on, literally.
Definitely. There during that reading, there were so many questions, because every reading is it's like a learning experience. And you try to be aware enough to, to be in their presence, but it's like, oh my gosh, because every reading is just so cool. It's
Whether for you as much as it is for the client.
It is. And because that's an experience that I wouldn't have. And I'm still, trying to say in this frame of mind of doing what they wanted, or what they asked, or what they needed. But yeah, I'm like, wow, this is, it's the emotion. It's perhaps the partner that has passed away is trying to feel sad because the partner that is still alive wants them to be sad because they're sad. Like,
Right.
because there was a lot going on, and I'm just like, I'm just going to sit here and hold space and do energy work and let this be the start of some healing.
Yeah, I mean, you
heavy.
hold that space,
Mhm.
but you have to remember what I just said. We're like neutrons or atoms, right? The energy is that it will go out and resonate and find something it can resonate also with. So
Right.
if the person here is sad, the person they're connected to via that emotional umbilical cord will resonate and repeat and mimic that energy to match it.
Okay. So that sounds like some sort of trauma. Like, I'm not saying it's almost like created trauma. So maybe like a softer version of it. So are these the type of traumas that you're talking about with us not ascending? Perhaps, maybe?
That's part of it. I think some of the trauma is that of feeling alone if we don't have a physical connection with someone that we were physically attached to here, whether they've died or we've divorced them or whatever, we suddenly sink into this pit. So, yeah, part of it is that. I mean, the trauma is that we are the victims of ourselves, obviously. I mean, we just have to quit beating ourselves up. Like, going into the fifth just means owning that. And finding ways to release those triggers when they come up, because as long as you're connected in the 3D, they're going to come up. But you have to have tools and enough spiritual common sense to know when it's happening to do something about it. Because you're responsible, right? Like, right. I know a lot of spiritual people that'll say, no, I'm on top of the game. And they've got a knife life vest on, but they're dragging people down by the neck off the boat. And I'm like, for God's sakes, just teach them how to swim or throw them a line or something, right? Like, but it's the responsibility of saying, I recognize that I've created my own trauma. It's nobody else's trauma to create or to fix. But I have to find a way to release that, because at least in the fifth dimensional level, they're able to take that and almost neutralize it, to just pull it out and kind of blow it up and let it go. So each time it comes and each time you deal with it, you're like hacking little chips off of a rock, right? Until the boulder's gone. So it's work. Doesn't happen overnight. That's life in this reality.
So now I'm kind of curious. So as more and more people start shifting or start doing work to shift into this higher dimension, will like mass consciousness eventually evolve? Like, that's the whole game plan, right?
Yeah. I mean, it already is. It already has.
So with us moving up, will it be to where we start seeing different kind of creatures and different types of beings and entities?
Absolutely. And there's a lot of people that are already seeing that. That's why I said earlier, if you have clients or people come to you and say, I think I saw an alien, or I had an encounter with a ship, or I saw this entity that I can't explain, that is part of that jump. I mean, our consciousness level was raised a long time ago when the internet came into play, because we merged with that signal. You know, we're like an antenna, like a radio antenna. So when the new frequency came, we attached to that. Now consider, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's a pun, but 5G has come out on cell phones. Ironically, at the same time that we've merged with the fifth dimension. So that energy is there, right? Like, we're already in that mass awakening. The difference is whether people choose to go into that energetic or not, because people have a choice. This is where the big decision is right now. Are you happy residing in the 3D? And it's something you know and you recognize, even if it's not always pleasant, but you know what the rules are. Or do you want to move forward into the next dimension and learn all over again? I'd rather go learn again. I'm pretty burned out here. But that's where we are. We've already started it. Everybody's waiting for it, but it's already happened. You just have to get on. The train already came by. Get on the damn train.
Right. Okay. So, like I mentioned in the post about this show, this is, Ascension, that's the buzzword. I see it all over social media. Ascension systems, this, blah, 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 blah. So I'm so glad that you're teaching this class, because I feel like you're going to put some definitions to this label, but also think that it can vary per person. And we're trying to fit into this box, and that won't work because we're all different.
Right.
So there was 2 different classes that you're going to do. Is that what it was? And then, so you talk about those and
there's 2 different ones, although I have decided to put one off for a hot minute.
Okay.
I think it's more important to hit the 5D communication class first, because I think there's a lot more light workers out there who need a tune-up and a pick-me-up to go out and do the work so that they can affect the other people, which was the second class that I was doing, was people who weren't quite on the train yet. They knew a train existed, but they hadn't bought a ticket, right? All of us have bought a ticket. So this class is more about that. It's really teaching everybody how to do what the great spiritualists have always been doing. And I'm going to try to get this small and not too long, but inside of everyone is the ability to communicate on the same level that I communicate on. It's just about knowing how to tune in the frequency. So that's one of the things I'm teaching. You think you want to be a medium? You already are. Let me just put you on the right radio station, right? So we're going to deal with that. We're going to deal with telepathy quite a bit. We're going to deal with a whole lot of remote viewing, because people need to understand how connected they are. And once they see physical evidence in the exercises, it changes their idea of how powerful they are.
Oh, my head is hurting right now.
It's a beautiful thing. And in the end, I'll teach everybody how to heal with this, how to connect it, because it's threefold. It's not just like we've had little pieces put out with, the Hicks stuff and the power of intention and all of these things. They're all beautiful things, but they're pieces of the puzzle.
Right.
It doesn't complete the puzzle. It's a threefold. It's a trinity, just like every other thing that mimics in this universe. You have to have intention, you have to have emotion, and you have to have action. So the thing I want to do is teach people how to bring those 3 things together, hit it with a physical action, and shoot that signal out the antenna that is your brain into the universe, and do with it what God and Source meant for you to do with it. Claim everything that's yours. Be everything you were designed to be.
And more.
And more.
And more.
And that's it. That's the short, skinny, fat, and simple.
Oh, I like it. You got my seal of approval.
Thanks. I've been wanting to teach everybody for years, but honestly, I had to take a step back from everything to decide if I wanted to be a part of this. I'm not exempt. I needed a hot minute to decide where I sat with this. I knew that I've always loved humanity in a capacity that's outrageous. So much that it hurts all the time.
Exactly.
But that loving them is like loving my children. And I have to teach my children and make them responsible human beings. And so if I'm going to do that, I have to pass what I know to other people, or what a waste. What's the point?
What's the point? Exactly.
What's the point?
And, you said that wonderful. And I mean, whenever I was going through, of course, another term, dark night of the soul. And I'm like, look, people, whoever y'all are out here, what's the point of this?
Right.
Let me know what it is, because I'm tired of all these things coming and not knowing. And I've asked, I've read this book, I've done this and I've done that. So obviously I'm not getting it. Please just tell me. Because what's the point of this?
It's
I know
really
there's gotta
hard.
it is. And it's like, I know there's a point. So just give me the shortcut version and tell me and I'll do it. I'm not good at picking up hints, you know?
Well, listen, most people aren't. You have to consider we're like 3-year-olds in the universe, right? A 3-year-old doesn't understand why you put them in timeout or make them eat vegetables either, do they? Even though it's what's best for them. In their little 3-year-old brain, they're going, what the hell am I going to do this for? The same reason we're doing it as adults in linear time in this dimension. The truth is, there's a big collective energy out there parenting and loving us that we're also connected to and existing in that's trying to grow us the hell up. But just little by little, right? We have to be patient with ourselves more than anything so that we can be patient with other people.
Yes. Again, be careful with those intentions.
Oh my goodness. Girl, I have them too in the car. Let me tell you, my intentions are not good in the car. In person, they're awesome. But in the car?
I don't even want to say that's one of my biggest fears because I don't want to put that out there. But I have thought, Rachel, what happens if like that person you just blew the horn out and cut off and, you know, waved at them with one finger? What if like they recognize you because I look distinct with my hair, you know?
Right.
What if like one day they walk into my store and go, you're the one teaching meditation? No, thank you. So, but I'm like, hey, I was just being real. You know,
hey, they might, but you know what? You're human, not God. And so if they're without any faults, you know, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Throw the stone somewhere, just not at this house.
Right. Well, I think that's just like my spirit guide's going like, walk the walk, Rachel. If you're going to talk it, you got to walk it.
You do have to live up to it. I mean, I'm on myself about this a lot. I'm on other people a lot. The responsibility is huge. It's the same again as parenting. You are responsible for the care and feeding and love of your soul and the collective souls around you. You have to be more mindful. We all have to be more mindful that we ripple out like waves, either with love or with horrible thoughts. You know, do you want to be Jeffrey Dahmer or do you want to be Gandhi? Realistically, somewhere in the middle is awesome, but we have to manage ourselves.
Oh, wow.
Are you okay?
It is. Yeah, no, I was just thinking, and you know, and so I get a lot of questions about that, about managing yourselves, and will there ever be a time where you have all these perfect thoughts? And I'm like, no, you know, there is this, you know, you might have a thought and then you act on it. And then 5 minutes later, you think, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And then it might be, okay, 1 minute after you did that, you might think, oh, I should have done that. And then it could just be when you're in the middle of this moment, you're like, this ain't right. You know, I can't do this. And then it's just that awareness, because I don't think, you know, we'll ever be perfect and walk this straight, you know, pure white line.
No, wouldn't that be boring?
I know. So I think it's just like this awareness, and we might not have that awareness till afterwards. And then maybe it's just the whole fact of calling and say, hey, I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't know what I was doing. I was hangry, or was just being an idiot, or, yeah, I think it's all of that. And it's going to be different things for different people in different parts of our life.
Right.
So I'm over here on the Spirit Realm Network, and I see Romeo. I'm assuming that's somebody you know, but he says, wahoo, go Jennifer. I don't know too many people.
That's my baby.
I don't know too many people that have, you know, that name. So, hey, Romeo.
Hi, Romeo.
Romeo. Sorry. It's Romeo. I'm from Villa Rica. It's Romeo.
See?
Yeah.
Ciao, amore. Io ti voglio bene molti. Okay.
I love it. And then Bobby, he wants to know, is there any weight or value to embracing this scenario or trauma through exposure? Almost like building your immune system via exposure.
I think we've already done that. I mean, it's a really good question, though. Is there weight in it? I think we feel the weight in it already. I think you don't need more trauma or new trauma. You just need to deal with that you've already created. But I don't think more is necessary, right? So overexposure, how does one manage that? Because the world is so traumatic as it is already. I mean, unless you're going to run out in the nude in the street with a beat me sign, which I wouldn't suggest.
Right.
I think you just lovingly, I think you just deal with the trauma that you already have. It's not necessary to take on more.
Yeah. Well, somebody needs to speak to my family.
Oh, well, I've got lots of free time. I'm happy to send handwritten cards.
But I know, but then I think sometimes that's where they're comfortable at. And if they don't have chaos going on, they feel uncomfortable. That's their normal. So,
well, listen, people reside in that because of comfortability, because it's something that they recognize, right? Even if it's not comfortable, maybe that's the wrong term. People like what they find familiar, whether that's trauma or something else. They'll resonate in that space because it means they don't have to change. It doesn't challenge them on any level. They can just sit where they are in that energetic and that level of experience with no accountability and float for eternity. And some energies do.
Right. And I see that as the same thing as addiction, or maybe it's not the same thing as addiction, but it's the same outcome, like almost like avoidance. Because, I went
very
through
similar.
I went through a time where I was self-sabotaging and I'm like, I'm creating chaos because I don't want to have to deal with things and it's easier.
It is. But listen, on the same note, that's that 0 point that I'm talking about of neutrality and how energetic is truly neutral in the universe until we charge it with emotion, right? We charge it. But that neutrality, when you get to a point of exercising that, it doesn't matter if you have crazy family or crazy ex or crackhead neighbors the way I had in Atlanta. You can learn to just clear them from your existence. They don't have to exist in your space. That's a choice. That's an agreement.
Yes. And I love that you're talking about this neutral because with this, power of intention and secret and Esther Hicks and Abraham and all that stuff. Speak these mantras. Well, for a lot of people, these mantras, they're not believable because they're not even to that point.
Right.
And that's what I say. Just be at a place of neutral. You don't have to believe that this will happen, but don't believe that it won't happen. Just be neutral.
Hold in a 0 point neutrality. Because
it is what it is.
That frequency, you're capable of creating miracles. And I don't say that lightly. I mean it. Rachel, you know me. You know my life. I've lived all over the world, and every crazy, traumatic thing that's happened, I've been in it. That was my choice, right? I would go from a 0 point to put me where I can be utilized the most, and I would be there. We all have that choice, but that neutrality zone is where we find the balance and the peace to resonate here, like you asked early on. How do you resonate in the third and the fifth? If you can stay in neutrality most of the time, you can resonate in the third and ascend to the fifth without problems, without trauma. You're going to have little stuff. You're going to stub your toe sometimes, but you put a Band-Aid on it and you bring your frequency back up and put on your big girl panties and you get on with it. And that's how we keep moving up. That's how we better ourselves. Because in that collective, when we just take the time to better ourselves, we don't realize we're better than everybody else too. It all has to raise up at the same time. We're not singular energies. We're one big one. It's an easy thing to move through when you take this human ego persona out of it. How would you treat your child? How would you move with your child? Would you say, pack all your boxes, find your own moving truck, and I hope you can find the new house? Or would you say, let me help you pack them? Let's put everything on the same truck and we'll move together.
Right. And that's a perfect example of, the collective consciousness. We're all doing it together. And I do believe that was the whole everything with the fear. It's like, hey, bring it back down. Right. And, because the whole thing with life path numbers, I'm this number and Todd, we're the same numbers. And he goes, but I'm not doing all these things like you're doing. And he's an 11 and he's supposed to be. And I was like, no. You just supporting me to where I do this, to me, that's a huge contribution. And by default, you're getting the runoff of some good stuff. So it's okay. Don't think that you're not doing anything, because you are. You're doing a lot.
Is that he's already in a higher vibration of being supportive?
Yes. Yeah.
What if that was his only role?
Exactly. But see, he's not real big, and he's not, he doesn't hang out in the spiritual world a lot. So he thinks he's not doing these things. I'm like, no,
God love him.
You just being supportive. That is huge.
I love that people think that because they don't hang out in this world that they're not spiritual.
Right.
You don't have to hang in it to be it. You are it.
You are it. Exactly. Exactly.
Period. So whether you're toe in or toe out, it's still a foot. You're still there. But that's sweet. Tell Todd not to be so tough on himself. People are too tough on themselves, really.
Right. I know. Okay. So I noticed too, because I was looking at your Etsy shop that you had, and there was an activation. What is that? Because I'm always so curious about these activations. I always think of like Shakti-Pat with Kundalini. So what is it?
Right. Well, it is the dead opposite of Kundalini. I will say that. Kundalini is an old energy, and I know that a lot of people are still hanging on to it, but it's part of the 3D energetic, not the 5. That activation has taken the place of readings. So when somebody calls me for an activation, I, in the first part, will give them the traditional sensation of a reading, so they feel like that's been soothed in their soul, right? Also, so that they know I have their best intention and connection in heart. But then after that, we're going to start moving to heal the blocks, to fix the issues. Otherwise, there's no point. There's no point in wasting my time or spending your money or your time if the overall goal is not to move forward, to ascend, to come up, to realign. And so that's what the activation is. In that time also, if people are open to it, I'm really happy to help them connect not only with what they call their guides or their soul family, but with their higher self, which is really the driver of that car.
Yes.
So that they can figure out how to communicate, how to be connected all day, every day, because they are anyway. But you know what I'm saying, to turn the switch on or off. So the activation is that. It's activating God, material, DNA, genetic code that's in your body that's just asking for you to say, yes, I'm ready. It's not something I do. It's something you do. It's just my job to help you get there. And then things start to change. People start to feel differently, live differently, see differently. They experience on a different level. And God knows it's time for everybody to start doing that a little bit. I'm happy to do it. The traditional readings, I don't really want to do them much anymore, unless it's somebody that's missing and I know I can help. It just seems redundant. We're past this. We're just past it. There's lots of people out there, I'm sure, who are happy to do that for people who don't want to ascend. On the 3D level, they should stay traditional with those things and serve people that want to stay in that dimension, which is their right and their choice. There's no belittlement in that. But for me, it's an impossibility. So I'm only attracting people who are ready to take upward momentum.
I like it.
Thanks.
Oh, so I'll post a link to your classes.
Oh, thanks. That's
No
sweet.
problem. It is 5D, isn't it?
It is.
Oh my gosh. I'm just excited to see what's past 5D? I'm kind of curious. Is it what's next?
There are dimensions, obviously, beyond that. We don't have access to them. This is the top tier that we have access to right now. I don't think we get more. I've never, even before we merged with this, I never saw past 5D. I don't think we get more until as a collective here we come to that point all at the same time, which is fun.
Right. Well, I think I don't want to say levels, but I do
Excuse me.
think there's like gradations of 5D.
Sure.
So that's just what I think. But so our higher selves, are they in 5D or are they higher?
They're higher. But let's think of 5D as, excuse me again, a waiting room. Let's say you went all the way through school and you're getting ready to take the exam to move into your job field, but you have to sit in a waiting room and wait for the professors to give you the exam. And 5D is that. It means it's putting you on the level with the professors, but it's just not time to take the next exam yet. You're just resonating on that level with energies that are far higher than what we've been used to, so that we can now gain the next level of knowledge and understanding. And I think once we get there collectively, we'll be shown the next dimension. But for right now, our feeble little minds can barely comprehend 3D. We still don't even understand our own ocean. Right? Like, I mean, seriously? Why in the hell would they give us higher dimensions to understand? That's just crazy. It's like asking a 2-year-old to manage my portfolio financially. I'm probably not going to. I would be like, here's all you get, big kid. You get allowance, but you don't need to be in the stock market. I know that's silly, but that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I agree. I mean, I know there's, well, I mean, I don't know, but I know, there's more, but, again, to know would be overwhelming, perhaps, maybe,
Sure.
or it doesn't even matter. We got to focus on, what's here now, honestly.
That's it.
Yeah.
We have to focus on what's in front of us. The truth is, I don't know what goes beyond those realms because I'm not allowed to know either. I'm just, like a lot of people, trying to help get people on the same train, get everybody caught up to where what I know. I'm just willing to share that without being an egomaniac or saying I'm a guru, I know it all. I don't. I can barely tie my damn shoes in the morning. But I do know this. I've been doing it all my life. So if I can help people with that, great. But we do have to stay focused in what's in front of us without being immature, ADD-ridden, spiritual children who constantly need more than what we can handle.
Okay. So these classes, they're 2 times a week and an hour long. Is that what they are?
They're about an hour and a half. So it's Sundays and Wednesdays on this class for 4 weeks straight. They're about an hour and a half because there's a lot of guided work that goes in it. A lot of guided work. There's also chat room that'll be open 30 minutes behind for classmates to kind of talk together. I'm going to try to get people to buddy up in teams so that outside of class, they can work with each other on projection, on some of the different studies and techniques I'm going to put into place so they can see how it works. But yeah, for now, twice a week. I think that's enough because people need time to download
Process
and absorb. Yeah.
So you'd mentioned before, because we was talking about the 2 classes and you said you're just going to focus on this one. And this one is going to be more towards light workers or anybody who, do you have to have any kind of experience to join this class?
No. I mean, what do all these things mean? I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but all of these labels are very third dimensional man-made garbo.
Right.
If you have a decent understanding of yourself and you feel a strong connection to this universe and that you are ready to move into the next realm of knowledge and understanding, then this class is right for you. It's all about having an open heart and an open mind and open intention to grow. That's the requirement. Be kind, be inquisitive, be open.
Okay. So what about if somebody who is this way, but they've never really, talked to psychics or
Sure.
they're intimidated by people that might be psychic because they're afraid that they're a hot mess and that they're going to go to this class and people's going to see them. Are you going to look at people and go, oh my gosh, you're a hot mess?
No, I'll never
Okay.
call anybody out in class like that.
Right.
I may pull them privately in chat or email them and say, hey, if you're open to it, we should talk on my dime.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? There's some things that I see going on with you. But I also don't intrude. I never
Right.
put my foot in the door unless somebody's opened the door.
Right, because there's ethics there. And a lot of people I know that are like my regular friends, they don't want to hang out with my friends that are psychic because they're afraid that they're going to be read. And I'm like, dude, they're not reading you. They could care less. You know,
If they are, they're attention seekers.
Yeah. So it's like, don't worry about that. It's okay. You know?
Yeah, no, I would never do that to anybody. I mean, I think it's silly. And, out in public, I don't tell people what I do. I keep my business to me. I don't run around and go, hey, guess what? Guess what I do for a living? Never. If the door's open, I come in. If the door's closed, I respect that and go my way. So they're safe. And I won't allow other people in the class to do it to them either. Again, it comes down to consent and agreement. If people decide privately in chat that they want to work with somebody, by all means, knock yourself out. I send you all the love and light in the world, but it won't happen in my class.
Okay. So there's no qualifications.
Nope.
Nobody's going to make fun of you. You're not too far gone or not too far along yet to take this class. So basically it's for anybody, right? Who wants to be
basically,
better,
if you're human, you can take this class because we're all human and we're all trying to do better for ourselves. But yeah, you're right. There's no prerequisite. Just be kind. Just be wanting to shift, to change, to make your life better and the lives of everybody around you better. That's it. Easy peasy, right? No big deal.
Yeah. Well, I found it interesting that you said the word human. They have to be human to take this class, because I had this brilliant idea for a new show where it was going to be like an interview thing, like Johnny Carson, David Letterman. And I was going to be there, and I was going to have a co-host, and they was going to be different entities and beings.
Okay.
I know, right? And I was going to call it A Bone to Pick with You, because they don't have bones. Get it?
You goof. I love you.
I know.
Why not, Rach? If you can get them to show up, go for it.
Well, most entities and beings do want to show up, and they do want to be heard, and they do want to talk.
They do.
They do. And that is the other cool thing is, I think, because everybody knows, I think everybody has a belief in ghosts now. So now it's time for everybody to realize there's other creatures too.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of things out there. And I've always laughed about it, that they look at us the same way. We scare the shit out of them. I mean, they brush by us and go, what the hell was that? Right? I do the same thing. In Target every day, I'm like, ew. No, I'm joking. But I think that's a great idea for a show. Go for it. Just, I think if ever there were going to be a time to pick up those other dimensional entities, it's right now. Because there's just no veil right now. It's wide open. So go for it, girl.
Oh, okay. So, okay. The veil has been lifted and the time is now. And the potential is there. So if people want to work on their intentions, they probably just don't realize that is basically the same thing as, moving higher. Vibration wise. I just really think everybody should sign up for this class, honestly.
Well, thanks.
Yeah,
listen, I do too, and not because it's a money issue, but I think it's a thing. It propels people when they understand this. They can bypass so much of what we've learned in this reality is necessary to grow spiritually. They become so independent on one side but connected on the other, that it's just a beautiful thing to watch. And to watch them go out and share that is amazing.
Yeah. Well, that was one thing that drove me crazy about the movie and the book, The Secret. It was, if you want this, all you have to do is just say it.
It's incomplete, though.
And I was like, no, you're just only giving people half of the information. And
Right.
that really won't even work because you're telling them that it will work and it won't work. You know,
I had a client ask me that yesterday.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to talk about it. She said, okay, so I've watched The Secret and I listened to Esther Hicks, all of which are fabulous. They have their place, absolutely. But she said, why doesn't anybody just say everything? She said, because I've been working with you for 2 months and you tell me everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, listen, it's kind of like the medical field and medicine. If they gave everybody a cure, then everybody's scared they'd be out of business, which isn't really how it works, right? But that's the way the ego operates here. So I don't know if that information's been withheld intentionally or if they just didn't have it. Maybe they only had one piece.
Right. And I totally agree with that too, because I think a lot of information is regurgitated. However, I do think, because, you know, like I'm only 29.
Baby.
But I know, right? That is a both-faced lie, y'all. Just so everybody
I'm
knows.
50, hello, and it hurts.
Yeah. But, you know, I'll talk to people and they're like, wow, well, you know, 20 years ago, your belief was this. And I'm like, well, at that time, that was my belief. That was my truth. And that's where I was. And
Right.
I evolved. I like to think I went higher. And now my truth is different because I wasn't capable at that time to hear this now.
Right.
So that's what evolve is. That's what enlightenment is.
Isn't that what moving into this 5D energy actually is saying what Wayne Dyer said, what I thought to be the truth yesterday turned out to be a lie this morning because I woke up and I had grown and my perspective changed.
Right. And that's what we're supposed to do. And it doesn't mean that it was wrong then.
No, it was right in the moment.
It's right in the moment. Yes.
Right in the moment. I say that about many marriages. They were right in the moment.
I guess you would, Jennifer.
And that's okay.
It was good for you at the time, right?
Yeah, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. No harm, no foul, neutral.
Neutral, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So is
It's
there
a good way of doing it.
So is there going to be marriage in 5D? Are we still going to have these same type partnerships, you think? Or you think that will
we
evolve?
won't need them. I mean, we're already moving past them now. When you look at the divorce rate in the last 40 years, since the baby boomers, right? Like when things started moving upward, they started realizing that they needed connectedness, companionship, collectiveness, but not ownership or partnership because it wasn't necessary. So in that 5D reality, it isn't either because you're connected to everything all the time. Kind of the way we are now, right? With our phones and tablets and all of these, we're connected to something. Our damn cars are connected. I mean, we're connected all the time. So when I hear people go, oh God, I'm so lonely. How? I want to put myself in a padded room, right? Like there's too much connection. But no, we won't need it there. It doesn't serve. It doesn't need to be there. And also because in that energetic and the ones above, creation, reproduction, become a different concept. We reproduce here because we think if we don't, we'll die because we're in a weighted reality. In a higher reality, we reproduce on an energetic level through creation, but not because we have to put two things together to create one thing. That math is backwards. Right? We should be multiplying, not subtracting. But we don't need it there. Thank goodness. I will say that. That frees up my needs to ever shave my legs again. Amen.
Okay. Well, so how can people get in contact with you? Do you want me to link the page to this somehow? Or
sure. If you want to link the page.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Also, they can get in touch with me online. We do have a website that's connected through my Facebook. You guys are welcome to look up 5D Communication on Facebook and you'll find me. But Rachel, yeah, of course, you can put the link in, and you're also welcome to put in my cell phone number. People can text or email through email anytime. I don't have any great privacy to protect. If we're collective, then I have to say that I'm open to you all the time. And when I'm not open, I won't respond. But when I'm open again, I will. But yeah, however you would like to do it is fine.
Okay. Yeah. Because I think it just really feels like this class, there is a set intention, but it doesn't matter where you are. It's just going to help you with whatever.
It
whatever.
is. Mm-hmm. Because the class is collective. I'm not coming in with an ego of being the maestro. Let me teach you the secrets, right? Everything about the universe. Listen, we're collective. I'm going to teach you what I know, but people are going to come together and teach me and teach each other as well through the process. That's, for me, super exciting. Like, I can't wait to get started with everybody.
Do you know what's exciting for me?
What?
The fact that I interviewed you.
No!
I know, right?
It's true.
It
as
is
many
true.
years as we've known each other.
I know. Well, I was just thinking, I don't want to say I've come full circle because, this is like, what is the thing that goes to the middle of a circle? The radius or something?
Mm-hmm.
I've just come radius. I haven't went for a sulker yet because that makes me feel like I peaked. But you were like the first person that I came to with all my questions. So
That's
I
true.
feel like I'm coming back home, or I don't know. I just feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, do you remember whenever I was like asking you all these weird questions? And now I'm like talking to you about ascension and consciousness and, different entities and beings. I know.
You've grown so much. I said that to you in text the other day, but it is astounding. And I was thinking about that too, because I remember the first day you walked into my store for a reading and you were kind of bumbling around, not sure whether to ask for one or not.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got in it, and you and I have been ride or die since, right? I love that connection with people, but I love watching how full circle or infinite, if we want to do it that way, that you've come back around and that I'm still part of it with you. I love that. It's so awesome.
I know. Well, I want to do investigations with you. I just got back from the Winchester House in California, and that was awesome. So I want to do investigations with you too.
Well, come on, girl. Come out to El Paso.
I will.
You need to get it out here. We can hit New Mexico and all kind of places.
I know. That'd be so cool. But I talk about you all the time because another funny story is I talk about whenever you was having your like open house or a gallery reading, and you had been telling me that, Rachel, if you don't want to get pregnant, you need to do something about that. And I thought she's crazy because all psychics will tell you either about love, if you're going to get married, or about your job or kids. And I was like, I got my kids. I'm good. And I was like, she's just telling me this. Well, guess what? But it was just funny because there was a gentleman doing a gallery reading and he goes, well, if you're not pregnant, then you're fixing to get pregnant. And I remember you laughing. And he was like, oh, no. He said, you're fixing to get pregnant too. Do you remember that? And then I'm pretty sure to your friend, she was laughing. And he was like, no, you're fixing to have twins. Mm-hmm. And I was like, to me, that also signifies a whole nother little group that is coming up. Connected. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're probably already past us. But yeah. So coming up the ranks isn't the right words, but they're probably already past us.
I remember that beautifully because I was actually promoting a really big spirit fair that was, maybe you remember that. We were all over the country, but predominantly in the Southeast at that time. And I remember getting off of a radio station and then doing a huge live gallery. It was like 2,000 people or something. It was insane. And I said, God, I'm so stressed out to my husband. And we went out that evening and had a few cocktails. And we got pregnant with Romy that night. Romy, I'm sorry if you're on here and listen to this. I know it grosses you out. But
yeah,
but it was that whole connection.
He hears all kinds of stuff.
Oh, my gosh, he does. But it was me and you and Katrina and a group of people that all thought we were past that. And we all got pregnant in the same time period. Yeah. It was crazy. I think the only person who didn't get knocked up was Wanda.
Yeah.
But it was, what a ride, girl. I'm so blessed by you just to have you in my life because you've always been just the kindest, sweetest. I mean, man, I think about when the ice storm hit Atlanta and you were the only person who would come get my sorry butt to take me to the store. I was so happy.
I know. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, yeah. You started my prepping phase and all that stuff. Yeah, because just the truths, and so you're an author, you're all these different things, and that's exactly one thing that I want to try and do is
Mhm.
one, erase the stereotypes, those stigmatisms about psychics and mediums, because
Right.
they can be very helpful, and it's not just maybe connecting with a loved one we lost, but what is the block? What is our fear? And it's like if we can have somebody tell us, because I think deep down inside we already know, but to have somebody say your fear is this is how you can do it. Sometimes that's
Right.
all you need. And that is huge. And they're
It's
not all
huge.
crazy. Yeah.
I wish they would take the word away. I've always said that I hate the word psychic. I mean,
Hmm.
I hate the word medium. I'm in the middle of what? Right? Like I'm a therapist in a way, or
Hmm.
maybe just a life experience companion. I'm here to walk it with you, right? But all those other words, I don't know if they really apply. I don't know if they really do it justice of what we are all here to do for each other. We're just
Yeah.
being sisters and brothers to each other, right?
Right. But this sister over here, she can give names. I know you saying you feel like there's a disconnection, but I'm just trying to reiterate, you are the real deal.
Well,
You're not
thanks.
like, somebody who's going to remove curses from
No.
somebody and charge you $20,000, or, you're not going to try and, because that's the thing. People's like, oh, a class. She's trying to sell a class. Well, yeah, there has to be some sort of energy exchange, but you're not trying to sell them a gold temple,
No, not
mm-mm,
even close.
no.
And in all the years I've been in this, and probably most of your listeners don't know me, but in all the years I worked in television and was at the height of my career, I never taught or took more than what was necessary to survive because I felt bad about it.
Hmm.
That's the truth. My readings have never been over the top. I mean, financially, it just seems barbaric. I have to survive because we're in this reality and I got to pay bills. Sure.
Right.
We
Because,
all do.
right. And that's the thing. People's like, oh, back in the day, they didn't charge. I'm like, well, no, but they was giving them chickens and bacon cakes and pies. But you
Amen.
didn't call me on a chicken. You called me on my cell phone.
Girl,
So
send me a chicken,
I know I need cell phone money. That's what I need, because that's the
right?
exchange now. But
I'm
I'll
down for
take
that
cakes or
chicken, though.
pies. I know.
I'm all for the bartering. You know how I am with that kind of
Uh-huh.
thing. Like, send it my way. But yeah, I think, listen, it's just like any industry. There are a lot of people with good intention,
Hmm.
but they just deliver badly, maybe intentionally, maybe not, maybe unintentionally. Maybe they can't help themselves. That's just where they are at that time. But I appreciate your sweet words about me, and I'm glad that you see me in that light because it makes me feel really happy. That's really sweet. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, there's not too many people I trust with reading my future.
I can
I lie.
understand that.
I lie. Anywhere I go and I see a psychic, I'm like, I have to go support them. So I was like, what do you want to know? I was like, I don't know. I just want to see how the reading is. I want to see I want to see what their favorite thing is. I want to
Oh
see
my
how they
God.
do it.
Girl,
It's
I
just
run
like,
the other direction. If I
yeah,
see the minute I see something about spiritual fear, and it's not a judgment thing, it's
uh-huh,
just the experiences I've had with them over the years, people would always be very hostile with me.
right, yeah,
And I'm just not that way. So I run like the wind. Like most of the people who know me don't even know I do this. They know that I'm a chef, which I am, right? So they
hmm,
come and eat, and then I just work while I feed them. I give
hmm,
them readings while I feed them without them knowing what I'm doing. But
yeah.
yeah, you've
And
always had
living
that
in
inquisitive mind.
and living in Italy, that helped with
The
oh, I can only
cooking.
imagine the food, the
Italy and
seafood.
Greece both
Italy. Oh,
helped
that's
out a
right.
lot. Yeah.
Mm,
Yep. Yep.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about you already.
Girl, me too.
All righty. Well, thank you. Hopefully, we can do another one of these about something else.
Oh my gosh, I would love that.
Okay.
Anytime.
How
Anytime.
about
I would
tomorrow?
be thrilled, girl. I never get any time with you. So if it's got to be on Facebook, it's on Facebook. I'm down.
You down?
And
Like a
can I
clown?
just say a quick thank you to everybody who jumped in, because I know you guys don't know me, and I really appreciate you lending that hour of your life and energy to this conversation. Whether you take the class or not,
Mm-hmm.
my heart's with you and all the blessings in the world for you.
Yes. And I have a tendency to think this will raise your vibration a little bit too. We laughed. We talked about good stuff. You know,
Indeed. Indeed.
the trickle down effect. Because I know anytime I do anything like this, I get some sort of a high. Like I will be up to, I'll be up to 1 or 2 o'clock, and Todd's like, "Go to sleep." I'm like, "I can't. Let me tell you this." Yeah.
Well, you know, I giggle because people are like, you just said it, like the trickle down thing.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody had said to me the other day, well, shit runs downhill too. And I said, I have news for you. So does love, because this reality is weighted with gravity, dingus, right? It all runs downhill. Whatever you're putting out goes, it's all going downhill. It's just which one are you going to attach to? Man, I'd rather roll into a ball of love than a ball of you know what.
Right.
Sounds better to me.
I know. Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for watching. And I'll be on next Monday at 8 p.m. for a little tarot, a little card reads.
Yay.
I know,
I might
right?
jump in for that one.
You should. As Bobby likes to say, I'm a slow reader. But what he means to say is I'm very thorough, because that, again, like with the different psychics, you'll find out, because, you know, whenever I would come to you, you're like evidential. You will give names, or, you know, whenever you was in that space, you'd give names. To me, I'm like, it's more emotions. So I'm just trying to make sure, whenever I'm doing it online like this, that they are understanding what I'm trying to say.
What you're trying to convey.
What I'm trying to convey. And I say it like 4 or 5 times, but I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm a slow reader. I'm really trying to like make them understand, which I love it, because every time it unfolds even more. And I do believe, well, I set my intention that I'm putting out healing energy during that also. So I'm like, the longer I talk to everybody in the chat, y'all are all getting it, because it's rolling downhill.
That's it. Right? She's just rolling love balls right down the hill.
Right. I like that.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you again for having me, Rachel. Well, I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. All right. Well, bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.